What's up, guys? We're back, and today we're going to be going over the Pac-12 conference tournament. As usual, let's just get straight into it with Washington versus Colorado. Two solid teams in the Pac-12, both have the same exact conference record and overall record. Washington ended off a little bit worse, I would say. I mean, they ended with back-to-back losses, Washington State and Stanford. Stanford's a pretty bad loss. And their only recent good loss, I'd say, or a good win, I mean, would be beating Oregon in overtime. That was a solid win. But then Colorado ended off with a win at Utah. That's a solid win. And then they had a pretty tough 3 straight games where they lost to UCLA, USC, and U of A, which is understandable, the top 3 teams in the conference. And right before that, though, they also beat ASU, and that was in ASU, so that's a pretty good win for them. They both have star power. I mean, Colorado has KJ Simpson, Tristan Da Silva. Washington has Keon Brooks and Kenyon Menfield. So both have a good guard forward combo. And as much as I might want to pick Washington here, just because I feel like they've been a little more consistent, because Colorado's been all over the place, I feel like I got to go with Colorado. Just because they have the better resume. I think they beat Tennessee earlier in the season, which is crazy. That brings us to Washington State versus California. Washington State been great recently. They started off not too hot, and then they're on a 6-game winning streak. Great for them. California has lost their last 15. They suck this year. They're awful. This is no question Washington State moving on. They're the hottest team in the conference right now. The hottest teams usually play the best. So yeah, that's not going to change with Washington State. California's not beating them. Then we got Utah versus Stanford. Both teams not great. Utah's been on a rough losing streak. I mean, they had a rough 5 games where their only mediocre team was Colorado, but they still ended with that loss. Stanford, they beat Washington earlier. They beat Oregon State. They've just been pretty up and down the season. Never really been too good. Utah started off really well. They beat U of A very, very early on, but recently they've been cooled down. And honestly, I feel like Stanford might get the better of them right here. Then we got Arizona State versus Oregon State. Oregon State definitely not good this year at all. They ended off with a win, but that was against California, and they only won by 3 at Oregon State, so that's not that great of a win for them. Before that, they were on a 4-game losing streak at least. Lost to teams like Stanford and Washington. Just not great. Not a great season for Oregon State. ASU's definitely a potential bid stealer right here. They can make it kind of far in this tournament, and I'm rooting for them because it's one of the home teams, but it just sucks how they ended off the season at UCLA and USC, and they've lost both games. So tough 2 losses for them. If they won those games, they'd probably be pretty confident, not confidently in the tournament, but they would at least be they'd be closer to the tournament. Now they have to win at least 2 games, I would say, in this conference tournament, and I got them definitely beating Oregon State at least. Then we got UCLA versus Colorado. UCLA is amazing this year, 27-4, 18-2 in the conference. They've just been dominant. Jaime Jaquez, Pac-12 Player of the Year. They got Jalen Clark. I think he was Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year. They still got Tiger Campbell. Got David Singleton, good freshman, and Amari Bailey and Adam Bona. They got a little bit of everything, man. They have a good 6-man lineup for sure, or 6-man rotation. And beating Colorado should not be too big of a deal. They should definitely get past Colorado, no problem. This is a close game right here, though. Oregon versus Washington State. Because Oregon is another team that could upset UCLA if they make it to the next round. But the thing is, against Washington State, I don't know, because they've both times they played them, or they only played them once, and they lost that game. Or they played them twice. Sorry, they played way earlier in the season. They beat them. But recently, they did lose to Washington State, so that's something to look at. And Washington State is on that good winning streak, so still one of the hottest teams. Just Oregon does have really good wins above U of A. They killed U of A. They beat ASU. They beat USC. Like they have good wins. It's been an up and down season for them too. I just don't know if they're gonna be able to beat Washington State, man, because Washington State's been on its tear. I kind of have a feeling that Washington State's gonna win this one. That brings us to U of A versus Stanford. U of A, it's my favorite team in the conference. It's just not the one I believe the most in because I got to be reasonable. U of A this season is not like they were last season. As good as they may be, losing Benedict Mathurin, Christian Coloco, and Dalen Terry, obviously, it's a huge losses for them. It's just good that Azuolas Tubelis has filled his role, or has filled that spot as like the leading scorer and the main guy. And Umar Ballo's definitely developed well. They got Courtney Ramey from Texas. He's been a very solid, just all-around player for us. Karakrisa, again, pretty consistent. Just like looking at him, like just watching the game, you would think he's inconsistent, but realistically, he is shooting 38% from three, so it's not missing all the time. And he is just one of those like glue guys, intensity guys. So yeah, against Stanford, I feel like U of A should have no problem. Stanford isn't that big of a threat. USC versus ASU. This is another really close game, man. They did just play each other, and USC did win by 3, but that was very, very close game. USC did win both times they played each other, which, I mean, USC came into ASU and won, so that's something to look at. But I don't know, man. ASU's been semi-hot recently. They haven't. It sucks because they just went on a pretty rough losing streak, and then they rebounded with a couple wins and a couple tough losses, and then obviously beating Utah and U of A on that buzzer beater is a huge help for them. But then back-to-back losses, while USC is definitely a very good team, it's just, I don't know, man. ASU might be coming in with a different type of intensity, so I feel like I might have to go ASU here. Yeah, I think I'm gonna pick Arizona State here, just because it's probably what I'd want to see more. It's not a realistic prediction, because like realistically, I'm thinking USC is the better team, so they could win this. But again, anything could happen. It's March right now, so anything could happen. But I'm just rooting for ASU to get this win. Then we got UCLA versus Washington State. Again, UCLA is just dominant, man. I don't know if Washington State's that hot to where they'll be able to take out UCLA. Both times they played them, they lost tremendously. I mean, well, okay, the first time they only lost by 1, but next time they played each other, lost by 24. That was the last loss that they suffered this entire season, though. So that's, again, they're on a really hot streak, but like that hot streak also can't be taken super seriously, because the only noticeable win in that hot streak was against Oregon. So it's nothing crazy. I feel like I gotta go with UCLA here. Then we got U of A versus ASU. This would be a crazy game if it happened. I don't know, man. ASU. I don't know. Both times they split the series. They both won at each other. They both won on the road, which is weird. U of A obviously won at ASU, and ASU had the buzzer beater at U of A. I do just feel like U of A is definitely the better team here. It's not as close as it is with USC, so I feel like I got to go with U of A to win this one. We got UCLA versus U of A. As much as I would want to see U of A win, I got to keep it real, and UCLA is just different this year. Though I'm pretty sure they did split the season series, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they split the season series, but realistically, I feel like UCLA has it. UCLA is definitely like an Elite 8 to Final Four threat come March, or come the NCAA tournament. They just got too many guys on that team that are just really, really good. But yeah, that's my Pac-12 tournament. Up next will be most likely the Big Ten conference tournament, or Big 12. I'll see one of those. Probably Big Ten, but we'll see. other than that, yeah, that's all for the Pac-12 tournament. Got UCLA getting that bid. I mean, they're making it anyway, but got UCLA winning it all. And other than that, I'll see you guys later.